What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. We've got some bad news, ladies and gentlemen, to talk about, and again, it just keeps on coming for the Chicago Bulls, and this one is another big blow that I'm not surprised that ended up happening considering the play that did occur for this player to get injured, but nevertheless, we do have some news to talk about. Not all of it's going to be bad news, but of course, I think we all know that the big news is the bad news. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls' current injury state and what do you think it will take to see this team fully healthy again. At the end of the day, it's a bizarre kind of season for the Chicago Bulls, but obviously the big news of today is that Alex Caruso has fractured his wrist and will require surgery and is expected to be out 6 to 8 weeks. So now we have two players that are going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks, and Patrick Williams as well, that's going to be out for around that length of time now as well. Very, very, very poor circumstances for the Chicago Bulls. This is obviously coming off of an extremely dirty play by Grayson Allen, and at the end of the day, in that last video, I said I was thankful that Alex Caruso was okay, and I stand by that because at the end of the day, things could have been much worse for Alex Caruso than missing 2 months of basketball. He could have ended up ending his career depending on any way he landed in that circumstance. So I was grateful that he continued playing, but obviously there is a sign of, I guess, taking that back as well because he is now out for 2 months. But I do stand by the fact that things could have went a lot worse than what it has been. So we will miss Alex Caruso for 2 months, most likely, and he will require surgery. So all I'm going to say is get well soon to Alex Caruso. I'm very sorry that this happened to you, especially on nationalized television as well. Everybody pretty much saw it. And it's an extremely dirty play by an extremely dirty player. That's all I could really say on the situation. And Alex Caruso definitely does not deserve that outcome just as soon as he returned as well. It's a very shameful act, and it's good to see that the NBA is at least reviewing and going through that situation with Grayson Allen. That's the next piece of news to talk about. They are undergoing an investigation on that flagrant 2 foul from Grayson Allen to see whether or not it is warranted any extended, I guess, consequences for Grayson Allen. Now, obviously, the flagrant 2 means he got ejected from that game. He did not play in this game against the Sacramento Kings due to hip soreness or whatever it was. But yeah, that's something that we definitely need to see what the outcome will be. I think many Bulls fans are expecting at least a suspension. I'm not really fussed about a fine. I think a fine does nothing to Grayson Allen, to be honest. NBA players are rich in the way that they are, so their contract will pretty much deal with any fine necessary, and probably even the Bucks might even be willing to pay that fine for Grayson Allen. So it's not even a situation of a fine doing anything. I think a suspension is warranted for Grayson Allen. Now, I'm not going to go in detail based on how many games I think Grayson Allen should get in terms of a suspension. Many people want him thrown out of the league. At the end of the day, I've seen players harm fans and still ends up remaining in the NBA. So I don't think that the NBA are going to throw Grayson Allen out of the league, but I do think a suspension is the right way to go. And I guess the NBA will decide how many games he will get suspended, if he even gets a suspension at all. Maybe they just look at it and leave it the way that it is. But at the end of the day, the NBA are not going to go through the injury of Alex Caruso. They're not going to make a decision based on Alex Caruso being out for 2 months. They're just going based on that play alone. So we'll wait and see what the NBA comes up with, and hopefully the right decision was made. There was also a poor decision made from the Milwaukee Bucks this morning, ladies and gentlemen. They posted a good morning tweet on, obviously, their Twitter of Grayson Allen, just as the news hit that Alex Caruso did end up fracturing his wrist. The Milwaukee Bucks did delete this tweet, but obviously there could be some subtle meaning that the Milwaukee Bucks, I guess, are proud or are defending Grayson Allen for the foul that they committed. Obviously, the NBA fans, not even just Chicago Bulls fans, are really reacting to this in a very good way. They're kind of shaming the Bucks for what they've done. And at the end of the day, I think if there was no major injury to Alex Caruso, many people might have taken this a little bit more lightly. But since there was a major injury, surgery required, 6 to 8 weeks out of action for Alex Caruso, and the Milwaukee Bucks doing that, I think many people retaliated in the right way, and they shamed the Bucks for that tweet, and that is why Milwaukee deleted their tweet for that situation. I don't think there's any malice towards the Milwaukee Bucks for doing that. I think it's subtle. I think if they had any intention, they should be ashamed of themselves. And I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that I don't think they meant to do it. But at the end of the day, who really knows about that situation? It's not my place to say. I'm not out here going to disrespect teams, disrespect franchises. I can say that they have a dirty player on their roster, but outside of that, I'm not going to disrespect the Milwaukee Bucks. I think I'm a little bit better than disrespecting teams any chance that we get. I'm not about that. So, moving into the positive news, ladies and gentlemen. First things first, well, obviously the only big positive news is that Zach LaVine and Javonte Green are doubtful against the Orlando Magic. This is obviously an upgrade from being out against the Orlando Magic. Now, this might, obviously, doubtful means about 25% that they're likely to play in this game. Not a big percentage. Obviously, they're not actually on the trip away. They haven't traveled with the team to Orlando, so they're probably not going to play in this game, to be honest. But the positive about this situation is that they are one step closer to returning. Usually when they're out, it means that they're still going to be out. Putting them as doubtful gives a hint to Chicago Bulls fans that Zach LaVine and Javonte Green will be ready to return, or at least are getting closer to a return. It could be the next game after Orlando. It could be the game after the Thunder, where we end up going back home. Those types of situations the Bulls are looking forward to, and we get to see players return. But at the end of the day, it's still a big, sad day for the Chicago Bulls, and it's one that could have easily been avoided. And yet, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Another freak injury, another it's not even an accident. Another freak injury, another dirty play, and another player out for a significant period of time. We'll wait and see how it goes, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, the health of Alex Caruso comes first. I'm not bothered about the Milwaukee Bucks. I kind of want to forget about this whole situation. As long as Grayson Allen gets a suspension, I'll be happy with the situation. And we just move on with our season. We'll verse them again. We'll have that chance to play and hopefully get a win over them. And that win will feel good if we get it. But at the end of the day, we're just going to keep moving on in our season. We can't keep dwelling on the past. What's happened has happened. We need to move forward. We need to move on as a team, and we need to retaliate with a win against the Orlando Magic. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in another Chicago Bulls video, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have a Chicago Bulls weekly out a little bit later on, just because, again, we won't have much other time to do it. 2 videos in a day. I'm sure you guys would not mind that whatsoever. Take care and peace.